Hey guys, welcome back to the Paper Mario playthrough. In this part, we're going to... Oh fuck, I missed the badge. Now I gotta go all the way back.
What badge is it?
The Fire Shield badge. Basically, it's the Ice Power badge, but worse. It'll protect you from...
Why get it if you already have the Ice badge?
Completion and such. Basically, it'll let you jump on enemies, but it won't give you the extra damage, so I like the Ice Power badge better. So... Actually, I think it also increases your defense against fire-based attacks, but considering that defense is kind of a shit stat in this game, you're just better off taking the extra damage.
Challenge run.
It's always better to do the extra damage.
Well, in this game anyway, there's the numbers are so low that it's just not worth amping up your defense by 1 point. Just really won't matter a whole lot. So, yeah. I mean, in some games, having a dedicated tank player can work to your advantage, but not
Dragon
others.
Age. Dragon Age 2 especially, because that game is nothing but swarms. Nothing but swarms.
So the lava's still flowing through the blocks until we put this last one in.
Yes. Even though even though we could just sort of jump off the ledge and go to the other side.
How do we get back?
I don't know, but we could make it over. That's the most important thing, right?
Okay, so wait, what was the point of that?
Basically, it allows us to, no, I'm saying hypothetically we'd be able to jump over. There's an invisible wall there. You do have to move the blocks in order to proceed to this room.
Why?
Railroading.
Railroad.
Well, you wouldn't be able to get back.
It's also slightly tutorial so that you can know to make a bridge here. Even though we don't ever use the push the blocks into lava mechanic ever. No, wait, no, we don't do that in Bowser's Castle. Never mind.
It's a dungeon-specific puzzle.
Yeah,
meh.
Even though we only use it like 2-3 times.
Puzzle, quote unquote.
You got another hammer.
In the same way, a 6-piece jigsaw puzzle is a puzzle.
It does absolutely nothing different except now you can break a certain kind of block. Woo.
Well, more damage.
Meh.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's probably more stronger, isn't it?
Yeah, it's way more, well, not way more damage. It can do 6 instead of 4 damage, so...
Well, that's let me think. That's a 50% upgrade.
Yep, so, yeah, you need it, but you're gonna...
If this were a Final Fantasy game and we were dealing in 4-digit numbers, that would be a fucking huge upgrade.
You don't ever get to doing 4-digit numbers until the very end of the game, though. Like, up until right before the final dungeon, you're still doing, like, 300 damage, and then, boom, final area, you just exponentially increase in awesome.
What Final Fantasy are you playing?
This is from what I remember of 4 and 6. Like, most of the time I'd just be doing...
Someone didn't watch our run of it.
I was in your run of it. If you remember.
Did you see how much damage John was doing by like halfway through?
John's also a lot better than I am.
It does depend on which Final Fantasy you're playing, because
if you're playing Final Fantasy 1, it's impossible.
Yeah, if you're playing Final Fantasy 13, then if you really get good, you're dealing like 6 digits of damage.
None of the Final Fantasy 13 where the attacks do nothing and the meters don't matter.
6 digits of damage every half a second.
So it's the Marvel vs. Capcom. You just did 10.2 billion damage. Those numbers are meaningless, Capcom. Meaningless.
Only the thing is that it's flashy and cool in a fighting game, because fighting games are supposed to be flashy and cool, but you get really sick of it after the 40-hour RPG. So, yeah. So anyway, dipshit moment in 3... Oh, wait. Come on, you can make it! Oh. If you jump down to talk to them, he'll sort of be breathing on the floor really, really loudly. And I think we want to talk to him right now, because you have to jump down to get this super block anyway. That's an easy one to miss, so I'd recommend making sure you grab it. You'll be able to know when you're supposed to jump off the zip line because the wall will become a slightly lighter shade, so it's not like you just have to guess. There is some amount of, Oh wait, never mind, that's a different area. He's just sort of wincing in pain.
You need to process whatever material is inside that box that upgrades your friends and Duplicate
magic.
for the benefit of all mankind.
Magic.
Oh, you can't duplicate that.
Sure, well, isn't magic an infinite source?
Yeah, but we don't
Depending
know
on
the
which
source.
depending on which game.
Magic! Magic is the source of magic.
Unless you're in the Forgotten Realms, in which case it's some sort of weave that got destroyed when 4th edition came around because they didn't want it around anymore, so they wrote up a bullshit spell plague story to get rid of it.
Why are you playing 4th edition D&D? That's the better question.
I'm not. I'm reading the books that came along with that edition. I don't play
Why are
D&D
you reading
because I have no
books? You should
friends.
be getting a PDF of it.
Oh, good,
Well, I
another
didn't
level up.
necessarily mean literally reading solid books in my hands. I just meant the... Never mind. You know what?
You know what? Fuck you.
I am reading the stories.
The spiked ball that was chasing you earlier. If you don't go invisible to avoid it, what happens? Is it a one-hit kill, or you get booted back?
I've never gotten hit by it, so I don't know.
Oh.
I think it just does a lot of damage, but I'm really not sure. I've always been quick up on my feet in order to use the bow's power. I don't know why I'm equipping Zap Tap though. That's not going to be all that useful in this area. Honestly, Zap Tap's only really useful on a couple of key specific points, so I don't know why I'm even bothering it with it at this point. Because, like, I'm pretty sure these fire elemental enemies won't take damage from it. And I know for a fact that the boss of this area only really uses, projectile-based attacks, which don't get affected by Zap Tap anyway, so... I don't know what the hell past me is... Dude, lava hot. Don't jump in there.
Well, he's our partner. He's immune to environmental hazards.
Yeah, but his tail syndrome won't last forever. The dude's just teaching himself bad habits now.
You're outside of battle. You won't die, ever. You're still here.
Yeah, I don't know how the hell he's made it this far. He can't jump. He can't hold on to things. I don't know. He must be really, really lucky.
Why won't you die?
You should have died how many times by now?
Push, push, push.
This isn't tedious at all.
Yeah, we gotta just push it to the others.
Weren't you
I
with
have
us
a
for
question.
Pokemon Gen 1?
I have a question. Why is the block flipping when we're just pushing it, like, flat with our hands like this?
Hey, I'm just gonna have to ask you to shut up right now.
But it's illogical.
Magic. Ooh.
Oh,
No,
God.
that's not just magic, it's just animation. Deal with it.
Hey!
Strike!
Ah! You had plenty of time to move out of the way.
That one's your own fault.
Comedy! So he's just raiding down here, breathing heavily, like, oh god damn it.
Why won't you just die?
Oh God, why? Wow, you got up real fast.
Well, he said it just barely nicked him. Maybe he wasn't bullshitting there. Maybe it really did just barely nick him.
But it's paper thin.
It's made of wood.
If anything, how does it see it coming?
I don't know. Anyway, you can skip this area, but there's some items, so... Yeah, there are items.
Woo.
Was
They're
that
supposed to...
Europe?
They're supposed to help you for the boss, but it's not... The boss isn't too hard in this chapter, I find.
Was that second item maple syrup?
Yes, it was maple syrup. It replenishes our flower points.
Okay, so
Canada.
how the fuck did you get maple syrup from the inside of a volcano?
It's the same reason why we get mushrooms in Bowser's Castle. Someone just put it there when they were bored.
So there are people on this planet who go into volcanoes and deposit random
Dude,
bottles.
if we think about this too much, we get those guys from the Minish Cap where they literally explain away why there are rupees hidden in the grass. We don't need to know these things.
That was a
There's
stupid.
questioning logic, and then there's just a point where you need to willingly suspend your disbelief.
That was a stupid reason to explain. Stupid explanation.
What was the reason they gave?
There's in Minish Cap, there's a bunch of tiny people living in the grass, and they hide things there just for shits and giggles.
And Link happens to come past a lot and cut down the grass and find it.
They couldn't just leave well enough alone.
I see this thing talk. It's like, what is love, Mario?
Dun 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 dun.
I get more,
Okay, so we have a plant monster growing out of lava.
Yeah, it's a lava piranha.
Little
What the
shop of
fuck,
horrors.
man? It's made of leaf. It's not even. It's green. It's got chlorophyll in it and shit.
It's made of plant.
What the hell good is chlorophyll going to do when there's no sunlight to absorb?
Well, it just needs light, not sunlight.
Well,
No,
this is a pretty dark and dank cave, isn't it?
Well,
You can grow plants indoors.
There is a difference between light and sunlight.
Yeah,
Um,
I know that. I'm just saying.
I'm not sure if photosynthesis necessarily requires it, but
I'm pretty sure I did a science project when I was in elementary school where I kept a plant under our bathroom light and it still grew, so...
Yeah.
Sunlight isn't necessarily required, but this environment is still too dark for natural vegetation to grow in anyway. So... yeah.
It's made of plant.
So what are we doing? Are we getting rid of the buds first and then attacking the head, or
Yep.
just ignoring the buds?
I'm just taking out the...
That's pretty much how multi-tiered bosses work.
I was just trying to take out get the plants a little bit, the buds a little bit weaker, just because. I actually think that this boss has two phases. I actually think the first phase is harder than the second one, because the second one you can take advantage of a weakness that it has to really just own it really easily.
Is it an Adam's apple with a big boo-boo sticker on it?
No. Actually, I'm not being very smart here because I forget for a moment that the lava piranha isn't fire elemental until its second phase. So here I'm wasting
Flower points.
I'm wasting flower points because with tidal wave, which is normally a good idea to use on him, but because he's not fire elemental at this point, he doesn't do the extra damage. So I shouldn't have bothered.
Will the buds regenerate?
Yeah, they regenerate eventually, like after 2 or 3 turns. So you're really just sort of better off focusing on the head for the first section of the boss fight, I guess. Because the buds don't do too much damage in the first section of the boss fight, if I remember correctly. I think they only do like 2, so it's not really too big of a deal. Also, I should not have Zap Tap. I mentioned this before, but I should not have Zap Tap equipped during this part of the boss fight, because he doesn't physically touch you, so it doesn't do anything. So, yeah, that was my mistake.
Oh, so it's kind of like static in Pokemon sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will only affect if it touches you. So since this guy only uses projectile-based attacks, it's just a waste of badge points.
Yeah,
I would have been better
hate that
off.
ability, though.
Oh, static.
Yeah.
Well, it's useful.
Because it always works for the computers. Never for me.
No, you want to know what happens? It'll only work for me on the turn that I decide to use Thunder Wave.
Yeah, that's happened to me too.
It's happened to everybody, I wager. So yeah, see, like, this is the first half of the boss fight, because we'll beat it. I guess I'm spoiling the plot twist, because he goes like... Yeah, your first clue is that you don't get 30 star points, and then also the fact that the music doesn't finish. Now, I actually think that this part of the boss fight's easier than the first part, because since they're fire elemental, if you hit them with an ice or water elemental attack, they'll shrivel up and they won't be able to do any damage to you. So as long as you use Sushi's Tidal Wave ability, you can't get injured during this boss fight. So yeah, the second
Why were you not using the Tidal Wave ability?
Because they're already stunned, they can't do anything.
Once they're stunned, I don't think they take the extra damage from ice or fire, ice or water attacks.
Oh,
so.
I see.
Also, just to save flower points for when I really need it.
Wait, did that guy actually help?
No.
No.
So what did he do?
Comic relief.
Guy's worse than fucking Dan Hibiki.
He tries. Get A for effort.
No.
F for execution.
When you're worse than Dan Hibiki.
Also, there's no real point in taking out the lava buds beyond just stunning them with the water attacks, because I killed them, I got them to 0 HP there, but then they just respawned anyway, so don't bother. Yeah, that's just the moral of the story. Don't bother.
So you have to get rid of the fire first before you can damage it, or?
No, you can damage it without getting rid of the fire, but it's a more effective way to damage it. Because getting rid of the fire will just stun it, and then it won't do anything, and it'll just be a sitting duck. So yeah. See, when they're shriveled up, they lose their fire elemental, so that's why the tidal wave only did 6 damage to the main guy, as opposed to 8, like it did to the buds.
Gotcha.
See, this guy hasn't done a lick of damage to me ever since I started this phase of the boss fight, so... It's really not. That's why I think this section's harder than the previous one.
I'd imagine this guy gave you a shitload of trouble your first play. I'd imagine this guy gave you a shitload of trouble your first time you ever encountered him.
Not really, because Pokemon logic had already taught me to use water against fire types. So I pretty much understood the strategy for this boss from the moment I first started it. The boss.
Meanwhile, Final Fantasy logic dictates that only ice is strong against fire. Water doesn't do a goddamn thing.
Well, in this case, we're both right, because both elements will be good against him. So yay! This game accommodates all players.
The fire melts the ice to become water, which then douses the flames.
Or the fire just heats up the ice until it becomes steam, burning you in the process.
Usually the former.
Well,
depends on how hot.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I say.
We've got another worthless trading card.
This guy isn't too bad. I don't think that the bosses in this game get annoying until Chapter 6.
Guess what's next?
Yeah. We'll get to that sooner or later.
End of chapter.
I just realized that music was a remix of the wand music in Mario 3.
What's with the random ass rope?
It's a ribbon. She wants to look pretty.
That's a ribbon?
It looks like she's wearing a pretzel cosplay.
It's a ribbon, alright? I mean, what else?
She's a very big fan of pretzel bag.
But she's a total bitch, though.
Hey, John, have you gotten arrested for that case of murder yet?
No.
Somebody should do that one of these days.
You see, the Pretzel Bag Police Department, PD for short, all consists of pretzels, and they're about as effective as you would think a pretzel is.
Chief Wiggum.
So they're about as effective as the real cops. Oh, burn.